Hey there, my name is Trauma Llama, and when you clicked on this video, you may have been thinking, wow, that's a long video. And well, you're right, but let me explain why. Today, I sit down with the pro Rocket League player, Shock, and we talk about his journey on where he came from and how he got to where he is today. So I hope you guys will stick around for the whole interview, and don't forget to drop a like and a subscribe on the channel. All of the support is really greatly appreciated. All right, guys, let's get into it. So Shock, I know there have been a few interviews done with you where you answered Twitter questions, so I want to dive a little more into the history of where you came from and how you got to where you are today. So let's rewind way back when you were grinding CSGO. What drew you away from the FPS games to Rocket League?
So I started playing CSGO when I was like 13, and then by the time I was 14, I had about like 1,000 hours or so. And I was global elite, which is the top rank in the game, and I really loved it. But
damn,
my friends convinced me to buy Rocket League. And at first I thought the game looked stupid and I didn't want to buy it, but my friends convinced me, and it was actually on my birthday that my parents actually got it for me. And then I played it for a few weeks and ended up actually being better than them. And I'm like, wow, I actually thought the game was very fun.
Yeah.
And then I started playing ranked, and when I started climbing ranked a little bit, I started getting smacked around by some players that were a lot better than me. And if there's one thing that I am, it's competitive. So I didn't like losing. So I really wanted to get better and just be better than the guys that were beating me. And that just kind of blossomed into a whole career somehow. For that.
Awesome. Yeah, I feel like in Rocket League, there's always someone who's better than you, and that draws you into the game and makes you want to keep grinding no matter what rank you're at.
Absolutely.
Was there a defining moment that happened that you knew you wanted to push for RLCS as a pro player?
Yes. When I qualified for WSU and Mr. Hoxer, was kind of the moment that RLCS felt tangible. I before that moment had been grinding 6-mans, as in rank X, etc., but I never really felt like RLCS was close or in my reach. But when we qualified for that event, everything felt a little bit more reachable and a little bit easier. I was much more confident, and even though we went 1-3 at the event and didn't make it to day 2 or whatever, we still gave some RLCS teams very close series, especially flip side, the tournament winners.
Yeah.
Game 5 OT, in fact.
Wow.
And all that, in your head, it all just kind of was like, you know what, I can actually do this.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the moment, and then playing in that tournament, and even though we didn't win many series, how close we were playing everyone, it's just for how inexperienced I am, I'm very confident moving forward. So that's when RLCS really felt like it was tangible for me.
That's awesome. All right, so you, Hoxer, and Normal Times create Afterthought in 2018 and start the grind for RLCS. Was it tough finding the right teammates that you vibed well with?
So, funny story about Hoxer Normal Times is that a few days before signups are announced, me and my family go on an RV trip to Wyoming and see Yellowstone and stuff.
Yeah.
And so we're a few days into that trip, and the signups get announced, and the signups literally close in 3 weeks. And I'm on this RV trip for 2 more weeks.
Oh no.
So I had no plans or people that I had done stuff with before that moment. So I'm stuck in an RV where I can't play Rocket League for 2 weeks while everyone else is getting their team. And then when I get back, basically everyone's going to have their team set up. So I knew Normal Times from rank A because I was in rank A at the time. And I had just promoted to rank X, I think, right before I left. And I messaged him yo, you want to look for thirds? I can't be around. And he's like, yeah, sure. So then we talked for a little bit, and then he recommends Hoxer, and I'm like, I've never even played with Hoxer.
Yeah.
I'm like, is he in rank A? And he's like, yeah, he just started playing last month. And I'm like, dude, I don't know, is that really the move? I've never even played with Hoxer, heard of him. And he's like, He's like, yeah, trust me on this one. He's really good. I'm like, okay, let's do it. So I teamed with 2 people that I'd never scrimmed with or played with until a week before signups closed.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and then we ended up being very good together, and we almost made it. We lost in game 5 to Splice in the upper bracket.
Wow.
And then we lost in game 5 to Soul Esports, which is Bork Savvy and Nap.
Yeah.
In the lower bracket in game 5. So, yeah, we were very close. We were definitely good enough for rival series that season, but the nature of playing day.
Yep.
You lose game 5s and you're out. So
yeah.
But yeah, that was kind of, it was a ragtag throw together that almost worked.
That's crazy. That's crazy, especially that you guys just threw together last minute and you were competing so well against these teams that have been playing together for a while.
Yeah.
So then you start the dream team with Sathu and Dapper and get picked up by Sonics. Is that the peak for a team that started from scratch to be picked up by a big org?
I'd say yes. I mean, I think actually like the physical feeling and like making our LCS is like the peak, but
yeah.
like also being an LCS and then getting picked up by an org is kind of like validates all your time in Rocket League.
Yeah.
Before that moment, you're not making like money enough to even justify the amount of time you're putting in.
Right.
And getting picked up by an org and getting paid is the big thing. Like, all right, now I can really focus all my energy into this because it's worth it.
Yep.
And you never get that feeling before, because rival series, like if you do have an org, you're getting paid probably less than half of what RLCS teams do. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, like because our rival series just isn't going to be profitable.
Yeah.
For an org, and they're basically only picking up teams to try to get them into RLCS.
That makes sense.
So yeah, I definitely getting picked up by an org and making it just you feel very accomplished, not only in terms of like being like in the big leagues or whatever, like being around these players that you looked up to. It's also just that financial aspect.
Would you say that's why rosters change so much with the RLRS teams, because orgs are trying to find that perfect team to take them into RLCS?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say it's a part of it, but it's mostly player controlled. It's mostly the players trying to find that perfect team to make RLCS, because
Gotcha.
it is not easy. There are many teams that have been in the rival series season after season after season because they don't have that like perfect formula.
Yeah.
And I'd actually argue a lot of times like it isn't even necessarily the players, because usually the pieces are there. It's actually like one, just like practice and like hard work that and these habits that these players don't have.
Yeah.
But also like sitting down and reviewing yourselves critically and like seeing yourselves as a system that needs to be improved upon. A lot of people view the game very individualistically, and you really got to view it as a team game, especially when you're under pressure and the individual mechanics aren't going to be as good. You really have to rely on your teammates, and I feel like a lot of teams don't actually pick up on that, which is why they struggle.
Gotcha. Do you currently live in a gaming house with the team?
Well, during the season, yes. Right now, I'm back at home in Illinois.
Cool.
Because we didn't want to be there all off season at some point. But yeah, during the season and like right before and right after the season, we're going to be living together. And so there's 2 separate spaces. There's the apartments that we have, and then the office, which is where we actually play. So the apartments are just, basically sleep and eat. That's pretty much it. And then the office is where we go every day to scrim and practice and play.
That's awesome. I feel like that's the dream for any gamer, is to move into a gaming house one day and literally eat and sleep, the game that they're playing.
Absolutely. I mean, when I was just like coming up on Rocket League, and I'd watch like I was still like, I really liked League of Legends too, and I'd watch like the C9 or like the TSM like house tours and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, damn, I really want to be able to do that one.
Yeah. Can you quickly sort of give an overview of what the day in the life of a Rocket League pro is like, specifically speaking of, when you are living in the gaming house?
So we'd, just wake up, we'd walk over to the office, and then we'd literally be there from somewhere in between like 2 to 3 p.m. to like usually midnight or 1 a.m. and we'd just be there playing, and then we'd walk back. Just as simple as that. And like it wasn't all Rocket League the whole time we were there, but the majority of it was. And I attribute a lot of our success to that, because we were able to put so much of our energy, and like we didn't into Rocket League, we didn't have to stress about other things or like other responsibilities, because literally our only responsibility was Rocket League, like right in front of our face.
That's perfect.
Yeah, it's amazing. And like being in that LAN setting, like usually players, the reason like players are worse at LAN is because, well, one, it's just an unfamiliar setup, an unfamiliar location, so everything just feels off. But two, like it's a little nerve-wracking sitting next to people. And, like, you feel much more responsible for everything you do.
Yeah.
And then once you get used to that, and we all moved in, and like we had all been playing with each other in the same room for like a week, it felt very normal, but just better, because the communication and like that environment, you're all in the same like zone. It's very appealing. It's definitely like the best time I've had playing Rocket League.
That's awesome.
And I'm glad I get to have that opportunity. So it's definitely an upgrade.
Sweet, man. How much time does the team put into practicing together a week?
So what we try to do, well, right now off season, there's going to be less scrims. So like during the season, or like a little bit before it, usually we try to get 2 scrims a day, and each scrim lasts an hour. So 2 hours of scrims a day, and then also we try to play at least another few hours outside of scrims, not together necessarily, but just in free play or in ranked. Just so usually we try to get around 4 to 5 hours of Rocket League in it each day.
Wow.
And then like 2 of those hours will be scrims, and then sometimes on top of that we'll also do replay review, which could be another hour or so.
And that kind of goes into my next question, which was, how much time do you spend analyzing playbacks from games? And I guess I'll go a little more in depth into the question. And do you specifically watch the team that you're about to scrim against, or is it kind of just you generally analyze without giving away too much of your team's secrets?
Ideally, we like during the start of the RLCS season, we were doing replay reviews I'd say we did probably 3 or 4 replay reviews a week.
Okay.
Whether it be ourselves or our opponents that we'd play that RLCS weekend. And we'd create like game plans for them and stuff. And I'd say that during like the second half of the RLCS season, we stopped doing it as much because LAN got canceled, and we kind of lost our motivation a bit. And we definitely should have stayed on the replays, because we played bad at the end of the season, and it showed.
Yeah.
But ideally we fit in 3 or 4 replay reviews a week, and usually those last between 1 to 2 hours.
Awesome. Do you have a specific warm-up routine before a big series or before a big game?
I like to try to wake up at least a few hours before it. So if it's late in the day, obviously that's easy. But a lot of stuff usually happens at like 2 or 3 Eastern. So cool. I'll try to wake up around like 11 or noon, and I'll eat like a little breakfast, not too much, because when I eat too much, I actually play really badly. I don't know what it is about it. But I eat very light, like I'll eat like a yogurt or like a cereal, or like I'll eat cereal or something, and then I'll hop on a few hours. I usually like try to get on an hour and a half to an hour before I play, and just sit in free play and do training packs.
Awesome.
And then after that, we'll do like a little warm-up scrim with another team, and then we'll play. I don't have like a very like regimented or like specific routine. Just basically, I'm gonna do whatever I feel like is making me play best at the moment. So usually that's mostly free play, and then if I feel like I'm not doing something well in free play, I'll open up a training pack for it.
Awesome. And that scrim before the game, is that usually with another, pro team, or is it kind of just with a team that's thrown together specifically for you guys just to warm up?
Usually it's just another RLCS team. If we can't find another RLCS team, we'll ask some of our friends with Rival Series to warm us up.
I want to ask also what it's like working side by side with your brother. I grew up with a brother really close to me, so I don't think we would jive well together in like house setting or anything like that, or like one of us working under the other. So what's that dynamic like?
Well, me and my brother Lucas are really, really good friends, so it's very easy.
Awesome.
Yeah, we think the same way about things most of the time, and he's not afraid to be hard on me. I'm not afraid to be hard on him. We very much understand that like that professional Rocket League environment is supposed to be different, and we treat it as such. We've pretty much never had a clash about anything.
That's perfect.
Yeah, we know what needs to be done, and we're also just very good friends as well, so it all works out.
Big congrats on MVP for season 9 regular season.
Thank you.
That's huge. Coming off that though, was it a tough blow for the team, coming from a great regular season to not winning, a game in the playoffs?
Yeah, it's definitely been the toughest challenge we faced yet, because for the last few weeks as well, we've kind of been in a big slump from it, where for a while we all just kind of hated the game. We're all very competitive, and getting slaughtered like that is a big hit to the confidence, and we're taking that time to build it back up, and we're working very hard at it. So we're only just looking forward to the future. We're trying to forget it in the past.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and but we're also going to learn from it, and we're going to know that we can't slack like we did.
Right.
Because even if there's no land, we still should have been preparing just as hard and working just as hard. And we all recognized right after, we really should have done things differently. But it's a good learning experience, because we're never going to let it happen again.
Yep. Awesome. Is there a specific team that you guys would consider your rivals?
I wouldn't say so, no.
Okay.
I think every team really wants to beat us, though. And the reason is that a lot of teams didn't feel like we deserved to get a 6-3 record.
Gotcha.
Or to do as well as we did. A lot of teams think we're lucky. That's a defense mechanism when you're losing to us, obviously.
Yeah.
The same way, if we were to lose to a team, we'd call them lucky. It's just it's the nature of Rocket League, nature of competitive. No one wants to attribute blame to themselves.
No. Never.
But, right, and I get it, and I do that shit in ranked all the time.
Yeah.
I'll call someone lucky or bad. But it is what it is, and next season we're gonna hope to come out and do well again, so that some of those comments can be put to rest. And so I wouldn't call anyone our rivals, but I think every team really wants to beat us.
They're kind of out to get you guys.
Yeah.
There seems to be a certain level of toxicity in Rocket League, and that'll never go away, kind of on the point you just touched on with it's kind of natural just to want to blame somebody else. But on social media, it seems to be easy to take shots at people and such. Are pro players in general expected to stay above that a little bit more, because you're represented by an org and stuff like that, or is it kind of just based on person to person?
Yeah, you're definitely held to a bit higher of a standard. You gotta pick your fights. Excuse me, pick your fights. And actually, I don't really mind some pro players making banter. Because banter is different. So what you see Ruddles do, or what you saw Ruddles do week 1 when he told Squishy Muffins it wasn't a fluke last season.
Yeah.
That's funny, and that's good banter, and that's not actually meant with it doesn't have toxic intent.
Right.
So that kind of thing, I think we actually need more of, because I think the pro scene's kind of dull.
Yeah.
But in general, actual toxicity and either going at people or trying to make them feel bad, you definitely held to a higher standard, and you should be, because you represent not only yourself but the game and your organizations.
Yeah, absolutely. Reynolds is trying to carry all of the excitement all by himself.
Personally, I really have wanted to join in at points, especially after we won so much last season, but I always feel like bad karma is going to come my way. So
well, I feel like a lot of people don't know that it's a joke, and so a lot of people jump on the bandwagon and just start like hating.
Absolutely.
Because I think you're being completely serious.
I feel like Twitter is ultra sensitive, and I wish it wasn't like that.
Yeah, I think it's just easy to take somebody's words and twist them differently when they're not standing in front of you.
Right.
How many controllers do you think you've gone through total?
I've only used one in my entire career.
No way.
Yeah.
Okay, what is this magic controller that you're using?
PS4 controller that I've had since literally like 2012.
Wow.
And then I've used it for Rocket League for over 5 years.
Do you use it wirelessly?
Nope, it's wired.
Okay, do you change out the cords then?
Yeah, I mean, I've gone through, I've changed USB cords once.
Okay, that's crazy.
Yeah,
I don't believe
that. I've checked the dead zones on it. My analog, like my joystick dead zones, are perfectly in the center. And the only thing that's wrong with it is that my R2 button, my accelerate, doesn't go down all the way. But I tested it, and the dead zone for the dead zone in Rocket League to accelerate the fastest is still below that threshold, so I can still accelerate fully fine.
Goodness. That's like some magic controller you found.
Because I see a lot of people talk about how often they need to switch controllers.
So many people.
Yeah, and I'm like, my controller just is still good. So I don't know.
Like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And lastly, for my questions, any big plans moving forwards besides just grinding for that number one spot?
No, I mean, not necessarily the main goal right now. Nothing really too far-fetched outside of that. I mean, honestly, the only goals are get number one and get better, and
perfect.
Sky's the limit.
Those are good goals.
Yeah.
Moving on to community questions, I have a few questions here from the community that they'd like to see answered. Hots and Monster is wondering, do you worry about your career ending and what you'll do when if it does?
Yeah, of course. That is a big worry. Even having the season we did, I'll kind of put into perspective what we were thinking before the season. So being a newly promoted team and trying to compete your first season and do well is very tough.
Yeah.
Everyone has more experience than you. Everyone's out to destroy you, see as an easy win. And it's tough to earn respect, and once you earn respect, people actually play worse against you. But so coming this season, we're like, all right, we just need enough wins to stay in the league, and then we can do better next season.
Yep.
Because staying in the league is everything, because that is your career. Once you get on the rival series, it's a death trap. So basically what you need this season is 3 wins and a good game differential.
Cool.
And picking up that SSG win early, absolutely huge, because you've not eliminated, but you've got to win off a team that's very good, and you've kind of put yourself in a spot early to where the rest of the season isn't as stressful, because you're always worried about your career. Every match is possibly your last.
Yep.
And that's a very scary feeling, and it adds pressure to everything you do. So when we crossed that, when we went to 4-1, all bets were off, because we were like, oh, we're in the league next season no matter what. It's time to just play and have fun.
Yeah.
And it was great. And then I got canceled, but
that's a lot. That's a lot of pressure coming right out of the gate. Needing to prove yourself, and put yourself in a good position.
Absolutely.
Right at the start of the season.
System's ruthless, and you really have to overcome it. And I'm happy we did.
Rhett Salam is wondering, Do you view the game as a 9-to-5 job?
Absolutely. Definitely, like when you're getting paid to do it, and you've got people to represent, you got yourself, your teammates, and your org to represent. I view it as a 9-to-5. It's very important to me to not only be competitive but be one of the best.
Awesome.
And if I'm going to be the best, I have to work very hard at it. And so I definitely view it as something that I have to commit a lot of time to, that I have to commit my mental energy to, and that I have to treat as a job, because at the end of the day, it is my job.
Yep.
I'm living with my team to do that job. So, I mean, I think especially with that aspect of living together, even more so, it becomes like, all right, I'm waking up and I'm doing this with my team, and this is the job that needs to be done. So definitely.
Awesome. Carmen's Blade is wondering, do you think it's possible to get a 31-year-old to GC or Pro?
I mean, I think GC is certainly attainable.
Absolutely.
Pro is a little different, because every season there's a new cracked out 15-year-old ready to take the spot. And just simply in terms of anatomy, being 31, you're at a disadvantage.
Yeah.
And I'm 20 and I feel very old. Right now. And I don't have like crazy mechanics or anything, so like I feel like I have to really compensate with like positioning and decision making.
Yeah.
So like for 31, I mean, maybe if you're very gifted and have an affinity for the game, I mean,
but you have to move quickly.
Yeah, it's very unlikely. GC, more than attainable. Pro, probably not.
Cool. Steel Toe Hammer is wondering, what keeps you motivated to keep playing day in and day out, and do you ever get tired of grinding out games and scrims?
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly points where I don't even want to touch the game. Because it does get monotonous at a certain point where you're doing scrims every day and it kind of feels like you're going through the motions. What kind of keeps me going is, I've said it before, but like I'm very naturally competitive, and I don't like losing. So if I start losing, that instantly kicks my drive up to 100.
Yeah.
To where I don't want to lose anymore, and I'm going to do whatever I can to win. So that's what kind of keeps me going day to day with the game. But right now during the off season, I definitely do take the time to like step back a bit and like kind of enjoy myself, because if I don't, then I'm going to start really hating the game.
Yeah.
So I try to have fun with other things. Like I've been playing a lot of Valorant. Trying to hit Immortal Diamond 2 right now.
Ooh. Good luck.
Yeah, getting there. And I also play some other single player games. I actually just bought Burnout Paradise Remastered. I don't know if you've ever played that game.
I haven't.
But I just bought it and I'm gonna be playing that. I find some other single player things that I really like to do. To kind of keep the game fresh, keep Rocket League fresh when I go back to it.
Yeah, that's perfect. I feel like Rocket League is that game that you need breaks from, or else you'll drive yourself crazy. It's Beaker asks, when you first decided to join a team, did you immediately go to your closest friends, or did you go to a player you thought was really good, or did they approach you?
Basically throughout my entire time in Rocket League, I was never approached. I had to do all the approaching, and taking initiative like that is important, because a lot of other people won't, and you're not going to get handed anything usually.
Yeah.
So I always took the initiative, and for Sathy and Dapper, I approached Sathy after he got kicked, because I was pretty sure he didn't have anything really set up, and I asked him to try scrims, and Sathy said yes, and then we were trying out people, and I liked playing with Sathy, and he liked playing with me, and then we just needed a third, and then I asked, I didn't ask right away, because Dapper was on a team, but I said, Dap, if things don't work out, we'd like to try you out.
Yeah.
And then he approached us a little bit later, because his team didn't work out, and then we tried scrims, and we were just really good together right off the bat. and and we knew we had something to build upon. So I mean, it just kind of blossomed to that. But it starts with initiative, and like being that first person is really important.
Squiggly RL is wondering, any tips to go from semi-pro to pro? I know you mentioned in one of your interviews there is definitely a different mindset there. What are your tips for people wanting to make that jump?
I'd say that jump is largely constituted by work ethic. I mentioned this a bit earlier, but I feel like a lot of Rival Series players just play to play, and they don't play to get better often.
Yeah.
And you really have to focus your energy into what you lack and what you need improving on. And a lot of that comes with replay analysis. A lot of that is looking at yourself very critically and understanding that you're probably worse than you are, other than you think you are. And that happened with me. Before I was even in Rival Series, I thought I was amazing, so good. And once you really come to realize that you aren't as good as you think you are, and you need to get better, I think that's where a lot of improvement comes, actually.
Yep.
That very humble attitude where even now, I got MVP last season, but in my head, there's no reason to call myself good, because there's still a lot I can improve on.
Absolutely.
And, every day I tell myself, yeah, you could be good, but you can be so much better.
Yep.
And I think that's where the biggest thing comes from, is kind of dropping the ego a little bit, taking a hit there, and understanding that I need to review my own thing, my own stuff. I need to work with my team and be humble, and that takes you a long way. And then a good work ethic and doing it consistently will bring you to that next level over time.
And lastly, Rush RL asks, how do you deal with the pressure of being on a big stage all the time?
That's a good question. It gets easier the more times you do it. I was actually more nervous my first Rival Series match than I was my first RLCS match. And it just, every time you do it, it becomes a little bit more familiar.
Yep.
And trying to perform with expectations on your shoulders becomes a little bit easier. But I'd say in general, it's about understanding that even though people are watching, you're still playing the same game, and you have the same set of skills, and you're playing the same players you used to playing against. And just being confident in what you can do, and then just being confident in what you can do, and then transferring that onto the stream just takes a little bit of time, a few practices. But other than that, it's all confidence. It's all about knowing that I'm still capable, whether people are watching me or not. And then I got a few Rival Series matches under my belt, and then I was chilling.